All right.
All right. So as I've said, I think most of us know a little bit about Blender. If there's anybody new, maybe this will be helpful, but we're not going to go too deep into the model designer. So I'm just going to fly through it very quickly. So basically in Blender, the orientation needs to be in the center of the workspace, and we can see the center by the, by the green and the red line. There's a blue line, but it's hidden away. We can toggle these lines by going up to the top here, and we can just hide these lines or get rid of them if we want to. And some of the coding automatically gets rid of them because we don't always need these on the scene. So if ever they're not on the scene and you want to see where your model is, that's over here. So Blender's got a lot of windows. We can open up these windows. And this is very, very helpful, especially when it comes to wax up, for example, and we want to see all different views from the top and from the bottom. We've got a tilde key. With some people, the tilde key doesn't work, unfortunately. So I go into TeamViewer like today, and I'm hitting the tilde key on the keyboard, and it doesn't work, and it's very frustrating. But we've got there is a workaround to use a different key on the keyboard. So that's very helpful and useful because you want to be able to toggle your view. If you've got a number pad, you can do this with a number pad, but you've got to remember the numbers. So you can say click number 1 or number 6 or 6 or number 8, or, I personally don't use it. I don't really know the numbers. So, but you can use it if you want to.
So there is a
So we've
very
got,
short video on the website that demonstrates how to reprogram that tilde key. It's not hard to do. Or just flick us a message and we can just log on through TeamViewer. Michael, we had a lot of questions about installation. Would you mind just to quickly run through one of those?
So I think about 10% of users, they don't know how to install, or there's just a few problems. And let's just iron these out quickly. So when we install a module, we go into the preferences, and of course we're working with Alexander's Pi menu, which is just absolutely amazing. And all of our menu is located here. So when we import something, we just
Michael,
click on
just a
import.
second. I can't see your preferences pop up. Is it on your other
You
monitor?
can't.
No, I can't.
All right, let me just close this up a little bit, and maybe we can view this. Yeah. Okay. And by the way, when you want to close the window, you go to the top right-hand corner and you just drag it across. So we're going to go into the preferences. Can you see it now, Wolfgang?
No, I still can't, Michael.
It's really weird. Well, you know what? I can open up another window. I'll open up another window. Can you see the open window?
Yes, yeah, I can see it. Perfect.
Preferences. So this is another way of accessing the preferences. You can just open up another window. So we're going to go import, and we can replace if it exists. In this case, we'll just click that. That's okay. And if we say, for example, want to install the bleach module or something, now we've loaded it up with our installer, which was downloaded from the internet. It goes into the C drive. So the C drive into the B4D, and then all of the modules appear over here. So for example, if I wanted to install the bleach module, I would then go to the web activation and then wait for the website to come up. Obviously, you need to be logged in. And then we're going to be looking for the bleach module. Just wait.
You have to be sure that the bleach menu is highlighted also. If it's not highlighted, bleach menu.zip, it will not work.
You got to highlight it.
Okay. Yeah. So let's just have a look where the bleach is. Here's a bleach. We're going to go activate, and
Okay,
then
Michael,
this
I
appears
still
at the
can't see
bottom.
your screen. Sorry. It's got a problem with having multiple browsers, I think.
All right, I'll just stop the share, and we're going to share something else. Advanced portion share. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, we can see Blender.
All right, so let's try this. Import, and okay, this is the gum. Okay, we'll just do the gum. So website activation. Do you see it now?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Can you just demonstrate the highlighting of that zip file? Because this is where sometimes it gets deselected, and then this is where the problem comes in.
All right, so let's do the gum. All right, so we'll just look for it here. So I'm going to click on activate. This appears. Now press here to activate your module. The clock goes round and round. All right, and then it'll tell us to go to Blender to finalize the installation. All right, so let's do that. So we're going to go to the gum module. If it's not there, look for the gum module. All right, so that's the gum. Highlight this. It needs to be in orange. So if it's like this, it's not going to work. Highlight the file and then click finalize and then import menus. And then here we go. It has been installed. And then always click on save. All right, save preferences. And it's as easy as that. So just make sure it is highlighted.
Excellent.
All
Thank you,
right.
Michael.
All right. So we've discussed the opening of the windows. We have different windows that we can select in Blender. Often I work with the text editor to program the modules, and then the one that we need to know is the outliner. This is very, very important. So everything that you do on the left-hand side, we have a hierarchy on the right-hand side. In this outliner, we've got filters. So what I do is I always open these two filters. Now this is important so that you can hide objects and collections. So if you're wondering what a collection is, we can move these, just like Photoshop, for example, we can move our models into a collection by clicking on M and then new collection, and we can just say upper, for example, and press OK. So now it's in a different layer in a folder tree, and we can hide this folder if we want to. And another thing is we can enable this little arrow will allow us to be able to select the model or not select the model. So sometimes in the modules, they've purposefully been deselected so that the user doesn't make a mistake. But if you ever find that you're clicking on the model and it's not working and it's not highlighting, just open up this menu and then click on this, and then you will be able to select the model again. All right, are there any questions regarding the outliner? Nothing? All right. The other window that's very important to be familiar with is the properties. Now, this is where everything is happening. Now, when you're working with the modules, for example, and you click on the spanner tool, you will see a whole lot of modifiers being worked on while you're using the modules. So this is also a good thing to get to know in Blender. So
So,
what we're seeing here, yeah.
yeah, so often scans are imported into Blender in the wrong orientation. So this is really, if you take model making from A to Z, this is really the number A. You've got to align it into the center. Michael, can you just show us briefly how to do that, even if it's just a manual alignment?
Yeah, so Okay, I will delete these, for example. And sometimes with implants or 3Shape or exocad, the orientation is different. So we're going to go File, Import STL. And if you look at the right-hand side, you've got the Blender default is Y forward and Z up. Now, if you have, I think it's exocad, the orientation is other way around. So this would be Z up and Y forward. So Y forward. And this is where you can change the way it will be orientated. So here it's coming this way around. So if you want to quickly address that, instead of aligning it in a Blender, going R and G and whatever, or using the aligning scans menu, this is a quick way to fix the alignment. All right. So I'll just set this back to Y forward. So is Z up. What am I doing? Z forward and no, what was the default? Sorry.
I think it was Y on
Y
top and then
forward
Z below.
and Z up like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to select the upper, import STL and the upper. All right. So now, why is it important for us to get these scans in the center of Blender? And I get asked this question all the time, and this is because we want to be able to gain symmetry. So if we're doing a wax up later on, we're busy with the wax up module, you want to be able to match what's on the left-hand side to the right-hand side. For example, if we want to, with the wax up module, which we're going to be releasing soon, if you want to, for example, copy the premolar and you've got no premolar on this side for the crown and bridgework module, we want to quickly be able to take this premolar and mirror image it across to this one here. And this is, we can't do this if the models are not centered correctly, because we're using a mirror modifier which mirrors this to this orientation, and then the tooth will be out. So we're always trying to gain symmetry as well. All right. Wolfgang, can you explain where the shortcut key functions are? And then we'll just carry
Yeah,
forward.
so in the module web page, there are two folders, blue folders. The left one has got all the installers, and the right one's got additional videos and other information. In that folder is a PDF document which will have listed all the shortcut keys. So it's quite helpful just to print those out and have them next to you if you're new to Blender. Fortunately, all the shortcut keys are intuitive. R would be rotate, S would be scale, not that we're scaling anything or, yeah, so G would be grabbing it and moving it and things like that. So it's quite helpful to know those shortcut keys.
All right. So we'll just move on a bit faster because I think most of us know how the model designer works. So let's just sum it up quickly. So underneath these objects, we've got a mesh in Blender. We can select all or deselect all of our mesh. These are all vertices. These little dots are called vertices. The connecting bit is called edges, and the inside bits are faces. So we've got a selection mode over here on the left-hand side where we can select edges, for example, or we can select the faces. And this is how we are able to work with these three components in a mesh. It's very important to get to understand how the mesh looks like. Now, when we get scans in, often they've got little rips in them and tears and holes, and we need to plug them up and cut them and this and that. So unfortunately, we don't have an automatic button where we just say, okay, here's a model, boom, finished. Sometimes they do need a bit of work. Maybe in the future we'll be able to do this. We have the arch cutting tool. We've got a few cutting tools, But before we do this, we got to align the models to the center of the workspace. Now we can do this using the Blender keys, the R and the G and whatnot, or we can use the menu. So let us just do this quickly. So enter target, and then the posing, and then we're going to link it and flip it, and then shift right click to place a cursor, and then we're using a shortcut key P. Shift D to duplicate, and then we're going to align. And that'll align this into the center, and it'll take the points that we've allocated, and it's like putting it on a table. Now that they've been aligned, we can make a base, and we can only make a base if the edges don't look too bad. So I don't want to see something like some of the users I've gone on TeamViewer. They have rips like this in the scan, and when they extrude the base into this direction, this is problematic because we've got intersecting vertices and the model may not print. And we see this all the time in programs like Mesh Mixer, for example, where the Boolean functions don't work, and this is exactly why they don't work, because the meshes have been overlapped. So that's a good thing to note. All right. So from here on, we can make an upper base. And then you can inspect the base in edit mode to make sure that nothing is overlapping. And when you're confident with that, we can scale this base up and down. All right. So if you're in a situation where your mesh needs to be trimmed, we're going to select it, shift right click to place a cursor. For those of you that don't know what a cursor is, this little, looks like a bit of a life-saving ring. This is the cursor, and it's like, it points to where we want to start our procedure. So for example, over here, we're going to click on arch cutting, and it starts at where the cursor is. And then we can extrude this all the way around, and then cut our model. And I don't think we'll go into this because we may not have enough time. Wolfgang, what do you think?
Yeah, I think move on to getting the logo and just doing those demonstrations, Michael.
Just one question for you. You
Yes.
know, when we import PLY, you know, the color print, color scan, you know, sometimes users are quite confused because they have to go to the vertex mode. And could we automatize this function? Like when you import PLY, the display is displayed in color with a matcap on the vertex color mode. Do you think it could be automatic? Because sometimes it could be confusing and people don't understand the matcap, the vertex, the color mode. But it's perhaps it's not mandatory, but
I think you've got a good point. So when you actually import it, it goes straight to the color mode. I think that can be done, because as soon as we maybe click on something, then it does that automatic. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Thank you. Thank you. These PLY are very large, and you'll notice it's taking quite a long time to import. There's a lot of vertices in a PLY image. Have I disappeared, Wolfgang?
No, you haven't. It's just taking a while.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay.
So to get the color mode, this is a MEDIT scan. So some of the scans PLY don't seem to work. I've tried the Carestream. I haven't been able to make it work, unfortunately. I don't know, they've got a different algorithm in their PLYs or something. So here we got a vertex color mode, and then we can select the biological colors. And then to get the correct reflection, we can then work with these matte caps, these are called. So Blender comes with a few matcaps installed already, but this sort of gives us the reflection that we sort of need with the PLY. If you notice, this scan is 677 vertices, so it's 3 times as big as a normal STL file. What I would recommend is to reduce the model file, and we've got a button here, reduce model file, and then just do it once or twice until you get around the 200,000, between 200 and 300,000 mark. Otherwise, it slows down Blender. If you want to make a splint, for example, or something with 600,000 or 800,000 on each model, it's not a good idea. All right, so yeah.
Thank you.
So we'll just delete this as well. All right, so we've got cutting tools. I don't think we're going to go into this today. Lasso cutting tool, and then how to make study models as well. But I think we'll start with the logo now. Are there any questions about the model designer before we start the logo?
Sorry, just one last one. When we do, when we make base and when we choose upper base or choose with border, sometimes we can have a crash if you try to make with border,
yeah,
and you already made upper base. So
when you've already made an upper base.
and as it is displayed, you think, okay, I have made my upper base, and now I will make a border. You know what I think? In my the French translation, I changed a bit this text. Because, when I use it for the first time, you click on upper base, and after you click,
yes,
I want a border.
Okay, so you've made your upper base and then you want to add a border later.
And it's fresh.
I understand. Yeah, I mean, so maybe you're thinking we should have upper base and then with border afterwards, because I've been sort of seeing this as maybe we should change this not to with border but upper base with border. I don't know, or we can change the coding or something.
I made like upper base and upper base with border, so you don't you listen a bit better. And if we
Wolfgang,
can also the width of the border, it could be a very nice thing when we do denture.
The size of the border. Yeah. Okay.
Actually, Michael, you can do that by selecting the vertices. I did it the other day, and then you press S for scale, X, Y, and then you can actually scale it outwards.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, so you can make the border a little bit bigger.
Perfect.
Yeah, but the problem is, Wolfgang, it'll scale inwards, you see?
That's right.
Can you see?
That's right. So
So
then you're going to go into the Y direction, back into the X. It's a bit cumbersome. Yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah, that can be looked at, I think, in the future, I think. And we had a PLY scan and the border just did not work because there were too many vertices. But once we've reduced it, then it worked. Then it worked all right. I see the 3-shape borders, they are all inwards, just exactly like I've done now, but they then protrude. They protrude inwards like this on the inside. So it's somehow like this. I don't know if you've ever noticed. Yeah. All right. So yeah. So let's just get out of this, and we'll get into the logo. So I just need to close this window to open up a little video that I've made. I'll just stop the share for a second. And What? Okay, I can share the screen again. Can you see my screen?
Not quite yet.
You see it?
No,
You don't see it?
no.
Oh gosh, sorry about that. All right, I think I've got a conflict going here. Share screen, advanced, maybe basic. Is it this one?
Yeah,
No, sorry.
no, not yet.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a wrong screen. Sorry.
Okay, you had it for a
I'm,
moment, Mark.
yeah, I'm just looking for my video. Just sorry, it's just I don't know where my video is.
Okay.
Portion. Do you see it? Yeah,
Yes, yes, got it, got it.
yeah, but it's the wrong one. I don't. Just trying to access the video. Do you see it now?
Yeah, I've got a blank Inkscape at the moment.
Yeah, but can you hear the video or not?
No, I can't hear the video.
Oh gosh, how do we do the settings? Sorry. Can you change the settings or?
No, can you talk through it maybe?
Okay, all right. This is a logo that I've done in Inkscape, which is a free program you can download. So the first thing, this is a PNG. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, or a JPEG. And then we're going to go to trace bitmap in it, and we're going to set the brightness threshold to 0.7, and this detects the line of the logo. All right. And then, but leave all of the other settings exactly the way they are. And then we click on OK. And then once we've clicked on OK, then we drag this is an SVG file, and then the other PNG or JPEG, we can delete that. So this is the one we need to save. So we're going to go save as, and we're going to save it as our logo. So this should only take you like 2 minutes to do. And then once we've done that, we're going to do an outline. So we're going to go to the path, and we're going to choose the outset. And now we're going to click the outset a few times. There is a shortcut key for the outset. It's Control plus and with a little bracket there. So I'm going to be clicking on this 3 or 4 or 5 times until we get rid of the writing. Now the outline is important because we need this as a cutting tool. So here I've decided to use the shortcut. So I'm going to press that, I think, two times or 3 times, and then that would then expand the logo. And of course, you can do it other way around as well. You can inset it as well. So once I've got the outline, what I'm going to do, we've got a node editor. Here I'm just explaining the keys that we can use, but I've put this video into the module folder. So exactly like Blender, these are little curves. We can select those and then we can delete those. So here I'm zooming in, and when we see sharp edges, for example, we need to sort of be conscious and try and get rid of the sharp edges. So we can manipulate these little curves. It's very similar to Blender. So these curves, we can just pull and we can drag them a little bit. And basically what I want to do is I want to get rid of the sharpness of them. So we'll just give this a bit of a play.
So, Michael, the sharpness would actually create difficulties when making a model object, won't it?
Yes, because we want to be consciously aware of how this thing is going to cut through our model.
Yeah.
So I'm just sort of trying to get rid of that. So we double check this, and this is going to be our outline, our logo outline.
So essentially you're turning your JPEG or into a vector drawing.
Yeah, into the SVG file.
Okay.
And that's pretty. So this is basically how we do this in Inkscape. Now Inkscape's I'm not very good at Inkscape, but there are shortcut keys as well. You know, if you're doing a lot of logos, it's actually it's a very good program. Yeah, I think this is one of the final ones I'm doing, and then we're going to save this. Okay, here I'm struggling a bit because I can't really find that, the little curve, the handle. I think they call them handles.
Yeah, Michael, in the very bottom left-hand side of Inkscape, there's a little color window. So you can deselect the black and then you can work just with a line. So you see everything transparent, you only see the outline. So that might help.
Okay. So, okay, here I've saved it as the outline, and I'm going to go back into Blender. Okay, shift right click to place the cursor. That's very important. And then what I'm going to do is in our logo now, we've got a few different menus. So this menu, I'm using the logo with outline, import the outline, and that brings it in from the top view. And then G and then R to grab, and we're going to just place it where we think it should be. And then always press the approve scale button. That's very, very important. And then after that, we can set the thickness of our letters, and then we approve it. And then create inside actually focuses on the cutting tool of this thing. I'll just stop this for a second and just go back. Now, if you look carefully at this cutting tool, it is, okay, unfortunately I can't zoom in at the moment, but it is slightly lifted off the model. And this cutting tool, which is the one that this is the block that is inserted into the model. You can set the thickness. So, and that's important as well, because if if you got a very shallow model, for example, you want to make sure that you can set the thickness of this block. And this is the outline that we've designed earlier on. All right. So sometimes where I'm explaining here where it's going upwards, this is because in Blender we've got something called normals, and if these normals are other way around, your cutting tool may be going upwards. So if I can just get this. Okay, I can't. We can easily flip that there. So where we see the offset being 1.0, just shift it to minus one, and that will flip that around, the cutting tool. And here we can do the thickness, and then we've got our, everything is completed. So we can lift that arrow if we want to, and then click cut model. And this countersinks your logo into the model. Now, the reason why we do that is because the letters are standing upwards. So that would make it impossible to print this model. So here we are countersinking this inside the model. Wolfgang, maybe you can just explain to us what the best orientation would be to print a model like this, because this would be problematic actually.
Well, this would be a difficult logo to print. Well, if you were to have it straight on the build plate, then yeah, it probably won't be ideal, because you might get discrepancies, because the build plate has got a burn layer, and that'll expand the letters a bit, so it's not going to look good. So in a situation like that, you might have to angle it, or even go horizontally, vertically upwards to get it. But you've got to also be mindful of all the prints need to, all the letters need to splay away from the aluminium build plate and not towards it. So for example, the G there, that might not print very well. I'd say the safest way to do this would be to print it at a slight angle, and you should be able to get the lettering to come out like that.
Yeah. All right, and then we've got the option to emboss the outline, or we can engrave the outline, and then that would complete this logo. So it's actually very simple to make it. It should take you maybe like 3 or 5 minutes to make a logo, and then you're good to go in Blender. So I'm going to stop this, and then we'll just carry on and do the other one. And then, can you see this one, Wolfgang?
Yeah,
Can you see my screen? All right, okay. So I thought, okay, let's see if I can use a common logo, and I've Googled it, and this is the first one that's come up. And I thought, okay, let's try the Starbucks logo. So I've done exactly the same thing. So we're going to go to the path up top, and scaling it is, you always have to make sure that you put this lock on, otherwise it's going to distort. All right, and then, okay, I'm placing this exactly into my, I've made it smaller. Then go to path, and then we're going to head down to trace bitmap, and again I'm using 0.7. I'll just stop this here quickly. That 0.7 seems to work pretty well, but the finer it is, the smaller the number, the sharper it's going to be. So some logos you may want to use 0.5.
So
Yeah.
Michael, just stop
And
here. This is a new Inkscape version. This is the updated one. So if you don't recognize this this pop-up, then you know you got to update it, and the update is way superior than what the older version is to create a black and white image from that color one.
It's excellent the way this thing works, and together with Blender, it's just perfect. And not only this opens up the opportunity to use what I've used yesterday is to make a Chrome Cobalt pattern. So I've looked it up in a catalog, like retention for Chrome Cobalt, and I've taken this into this program, and I've done the pattern, the Chrome Cobalt pattern, and I was able to use it in Blender perfectly. So this opens up a whole new chapter for us in making Chrome Cobalt. So this is just a good start. All right. So let's just play this. So yeah. Click on update, and then we're going to click on OK. And of course, now all of these logos are in SVG. So I'm going to delete the PNG or JPEG. We don't need this anymore. It's important to delete that. So we're going to go into the node editor. Zoom in a little bit. And then on the left-hand side, the second menu is the node editor. Selecting it, and then click on delete. And I'll just stop it here again. Sometimes a logo may be very complex. So in the path up top, I can show this a bit later. There's a button called Simplify, and that simplifies a logo. If it doesn't work in Blender, simplify the logo and it will work. So here I'm going to just save this as an SVG file. But this time I will call it Starbucks, and then I'll just save that. So we go back to Blender, and now in Blender, the update module has a new, I'll just stop this. It's got a new menu. It's called Import Other SVG File. Before we only had two options with a logo. Now we've got more options. You can have as many SVG files as you like. Just please make sure that when you update the module, put your logo somewhere else, because it's going to delete everything in your module file when you click on update. And we don't want to, Wolfgang and I don't want to recreate these logos.
Michael,
All right.
can you just explain the subfolders to demonstrate that like nothing's really changed in the layout of the usual layout of the logo? Could you just
Yeah,
explain those? Okay, are you getting to
I'll
that?
do that. I'll do that as soon as this video is done,
Of
because this
course,
is a
yeah.
video still.
Okay.
And then we will do this in real time. All right, so here, import other SVG file, Starbucks. And now this appears on the somewhere on the scene, your logo. And now all we need to do is we need to name two things in the logo module. We need to name the SVG file needs to be named logo, and the model needs to be called target. And this is what I'm going to do. So I'll click on that. Select a name logo, and you'll appear that in that little block up here, it says logo, and on the left-hand side, it'll tell you logo. And then that one is called target. So this is exactly like the old logo designer. We're going to click on enter your target, all right? And then finally, we're going to look for a place where we're going to put it. Place your cursor, shift right click to place your cursor, and then click on place logo. This makes it very big, S to scale it down. So here, this is looking quite good. Now this is only like a little shell. There's nothing to it. So what now happens, we have to approve the scale. Very, very important. This is this button. Please don't forget this button. So click on approve scale. All right. And that'll bring it out automatically like this. All right. And then we can set the thickness of the logo. And then we've got a choice to engrave or emboss or whatever. So I'm going to set the thickness. The default is usually quite good. And then we're going to approve this. And then finally, I will engrave this logo. All right. So, yeah, okay. So here I'm clicking engrave, and then we've got our little Starbucks logo engraved in the model, which is absolutely fantastic. Shouldn't take long to do this. All right, so this concludes the video, and now we can just do a real life session, if that's okay. Are there any questions so far relating to this? Are you still there,
Yeah,
Wolfgang?
I'm still yeah, I'm still
I thought,
here.
what's going on now?
What?
Just flick. Yeah, I didn't hear anyone, so I thought, okay,
No,
everyone's
we're
gone
all
home.
here. Don't worry.
All right,
You're
so
on your
I
own,
just
mate.
need to get. Okay, okay, you can see my screen.
Yeah. Look, if you guys
All
want to
right.
type away, okay, I've got some questions. We are all focused on what you're doing. Yeah, Michael. Pressure. There's the pressure. You can make
Every
guides, but you
Wednesday.
can't make logos.
Okay. All right. So you can still see my screen, can you?
Yeah.
All right. So let's open up another Zoom. So I've got this on my desktop. Zoom. Okay, Zoom. All right. Okay. So here we've got a study model. All right. So let us do some stuff to this. So first of all, what I want to do is I'm going to place a logo on the top. No, actually I will hollow out the lower model. So in the model designer, I'm going to select the model and I'm going to click on hollow. All right, so make hollow. And this appears, and then from here we've got in our tool menu, we've got like a guide of how thick what is, because this works according to scale. So the thickness, for example, is set to 0.15, but just say I want to change the thickness of the wall thickness to 2 millimeters. So I look at, this is 0.2 is 1.6 millimeter, 0.3 is 2.5. So let's give this a scale of 0.25. All right, so thickness 0.25. Please don't get this wrong, because Blender will go into ever thinking mode if you put 2 in there instead of a 0.25. Okay, very important. You'll probably have to restart Blender if you do that. So then what I'm going to click on is hollow. We'll just wait for it. And in 2.9, we've only just managed to fix this. So this was a bit of an issue.
So 2.9 is, it's fully functional now. So if you want to download it, yeah,
Okay.
either way.
All right, except I had a hiccup in the Mac version today. So there may be a few issues, I don't know, but please tell us if there are. All right, so I'm going to apply this. And if you'd make a measure now, this would be like around 2 millimeters. All right. So I'm going to import something. So we're going to import an SVG file. So I've put these files into the logo module. So if you want to have a play around, so B4D, I'm going to go to the logo designer. And here we've got a puzzle, all right? So here's a puzzle piece, and this is just for fun. I mean, you can do whatever you want to do, but it just gives us an indication what we can do. So again, first thing that I need to do is I need to give this a name. So I'm going to close up all these things. So this lower model is target. Enter your target. It names a target. This little one I'm going to be calling logo. Select logo. Make sure that the name appears. All right. So I'm going to maybe just for fun go to the back of this. Yeah, let's go to the back of this one. Shift right click to place my cursor, and I'm going to place logo. So this brings it in. I'll scale this and put it over here, for example. And in the logo module, we've got a thing called real time. So at the moment, it adheres to the actual model. So again, what I've said is we need to approve the scale. It's very, very important, all right? Which gives it a bit of thickness. Now, we can click on this real time. And what that does in Blender, it's called shrink wrap modifier. So shrink wraps and sticks to the surface. So this little thing toggles the sticking to the surface and not. And so if I wanted to punch a hole through there, I'll then extrude this quite big, for example. Just extrude it like this. Look at it from the top, for example. And I'm going to say, I'm going to approve this. And then I'm going to just shift it through my wall, for example. Maybe scale it a little bit. G. And then what we can do is we can just click on punch out. And that'll punch it out of the wall. So, and then when we're happy with this, we can just click on cut. All right, so if there may be an event where you're punching it out and you will see a defect. And that's because the Boolean did not work, because there's an intersection. Now, I've explained this before. When there's a vertice on top of another vertice, there's problems in Boolean cuts. So this is why this is a live cutting tool. I can use G and I can shift this around to wherever I want to place it. So if it doesn't cut, just move it a bit and it'll cut. And then click on cut. And then we've got a cute little puzzle piece in our model. So that's just one example. Don't ask me how to print this, Wolfgang. I was thinking of you earlier. Are you
Actually,
there?
that one, yeah, the downwards curve might not print there on the puzzle piece.
This one here.
Yeah, that would need support structures, but of course, then you would have to angle it some way or other. So keep that in
If
mind.
you,
Maybe you want to flick that puzzle piece the other way around, or it might not have to be a
yeah,
puzzle. It can just be a logo, but any downward
yeah,
facing entity will need support. So rather have everything facing upwards, because
yeah,
putting
yeah,
support on you, you're going to ruin your lovely work.
yeah. So always be mindful, whatever is pointing down, if you've got anything pointing down, it'll need a support when you're printing it.
If you're printing it flat on the aluminium build plate. The other question I get a lot is, well, how do I get these prints off my build plate? And the easiest thing to do is just to throw, what I personally do is to put some boiling water on the back of the aluminium build plate. That'll expand the build plate, and usually the prints just come off very easy. But yeah, just something to.
Someone else said put it in the freezer. I don't know if that works. I don't know. But maybe
I
the warm
don't
water
have
would
space in my
work.
freezer, Michael.
Your wife will kill you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
won't go there, Michael.
All right. Okay, so let's do the top. Let's do something on the top. So I'm going to view the model from the top and then shift right click to place my cursor. And then what we'll do is we're going to import a logo with the outline. So import logo with outline and then scale, G to grab. All right, so here again, approve scale. Very, very important. After this, we can then set the thickness. It's set at 1.5. When I say 1.5, it means that it comes out 0.75 above and 0.75 inside. So if you'd have to view it, it's like half-half, 50-50. So from there on, I can change the thickness if I want to, but you don't need to. Approve that, and we're going to create the inside of the base. And if you look closely, it's slightly elevated. This orange line here, it's slightly elevated. That's because in Blender, if you want to do a Boolean union or whatever, difference or whatever cut, then if you've got one face on top of another face, forget it. It's not going to work. You have to shift it a little bit, always. So from there, we're going to then do this, what I've explained before. It's -1 or +1. So if it comes out like this, then you know, just shift this downwards. That's all you need to do. And then this one is the thickness of our base. So in transparent mode, I can see how big is this cutting tool going to be. All right. And then we can approve this. And this will give us this basically is our tool. Sorry, where's it gone? This is our logo, and the gray thing is our cutting tool and our platform. Now what I would do is I would go to the model designer, and then we can hollow this if we want to. So I'm going to go make hollow. We'll take a honey vented, for example. We'll just wait for this. And we're going to shift this upwards, bring this up nicely. I just love the colors in Blender, don't you, Wolfgang?
Yeah, yeah,
Hey?
yeah. It's very cool.
It's just amazing. All right, so we're going to apply this, and I'm going to go back to the logo designer, and now we want to countersink this into it because we've got all this honeycomb now, and the gray thing that we designed earlier is our cutting tool. So the first thing I need to do is the model has been changed to hollow in the model designer. So just be mindful always of the names, because if you're not mindful of the names, it's not going to work. It's like, you know, 2 minus 1 or whatever. So if the 2 doesn't exist, it's not going to subtract from anything. So that's very important. We're going to click into your target, and then we're going to click on cut model. And then all we do, if you look closely, it's made a cut. And then we can countersink this. I can look at it from the front view and countersink this downwards like this. All right. And then I've got a choice to make. Do I want to emboss it or do I want to engrave it? So if I click on emboss outline, it will just bring it like this. If I want to engrave it, it will make an engraving into this. So basically what we've got is we've got something that inserts into the model like that. All right, so
Yeah.
that's,
Michael, just
yeah.
explain to us how would you print this? What would you select these as separate objects, or can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so what I would do is I would select this object. These are 2 objects. Shift left click to select the other one. File, export STL. Now, super important, very, very important. A lot of users get this wrong initially. There's a little checkbox here, selection only. If you don't check box it, it'll dump everything that you've got in Blender into a file, and it's very frustrating. So click this one here and then export STL and then send it off to your printer. And you can print 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 objects in one model in a 3D printer. It works perfectly. Even when we mill crowns and bridges, you can have one crown, another crown. You can have a connector, which is a separate object, and the milling machines they don't struggle with it. But if you're doing FDM, Wolfgang, maybe you can explain with the
Yeah,
FDM
so with
printer.
FDM, some FDM printers need to have it as a union. So 2 objects just won't work. You're going to unify those, and then the FDM printer will take hold of it. So I'm not an expert on that, but we've had issues where we had to unify the, the 2 objects. But that's not very
Yeah.
difficult to do either.
Yeah, except if you got one face on top of another face. Always be mindful. Someone else tried to take a guide the other day, a tube guide, and then there was a sleeve, and then there was a face on the top of a face, and they just didn't unify. So that's always important to remember. So in the logo, what I'll do is I'll import one more thing. So what I did previously is I've looked for an organic mesh structure just for fun, and I've found the first one on the internet, and I've maybe I can bring that on the scene quickly, and I may have, no, I don't have it here, so we'll just import it. So in the logo module, I'll just close up all these menus. We will import SVG, and you can find these in the module folder. So in the logo, we've got something, I've just called it organic, I think, or something. Here, organic. So that's brought that in. I'm going to select this and name it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to name this one as well. All right, so like this. And I'll just view it from the top. View, and then shift right click to place my cursor and place this. All right, so S to scale. But so just hold on. Now this is quite funky because let's just approve this as well, and then I will take this real time off. Now, some of you may wonder how we could hollow out models with a different pattern, for example. And, you know, I'll just show you basically what the potential is in what we can do with these SVG files. Now, if you decide to do this, you're on your own, because we can't possibly help you if something goes wrong. But it's just a point of interest, which I'd just like to share with you guys as well. So what I've done is we've got this, and I will approve this, okay? And then what I can do is I can scale it, scale Z, and I can make this big. So let's make this big. Scale Z. I'm going to make it big, all right? And I'll place this. Now, actually, I'll scale it in all directions. Scale and scale Z. Maybe a bit smaller. Maybe something like that. Scale Z. All right. So what I want to do is I'll put this in the center of the workspace. So Shift S, cursor to the world, and then Shift S, selection to cursor. So this is now in the center, and I'm just going to try it out. If it doesn't work, it won't work. It worked perfectly earlier, so I just want to share this. It's not really part of the logo, but just the potential of what we can do in the future. So here what I'm going to do is I will export this as an STL file, and I'm going to go into the Model Designer module. So I'm going to look for the Model Designer, and in the Tools section, I'm going to just put this into Honey, selection only, and let's export this. All right, so I'm going to delete this now. And we're going to go to the Model Designer, and we're going to go and hollow this, and let's see if this works. So Wolfgang, I'm taking a big risk here. Are you there?
Very daring.
If it doesn't work, yeah, well, anyway, but it's a good thing. You know, in the future, someone may want to have their own, you know, their own funky looking things and so on. So I'm going to go make hollow, and we're going to now select the honey.
As
all
it
right,
drums.
so we'll dum dum dum. Okay, so we'll just see if this works. It worked earlier, so there's no reason why it shouldn't work.
That's awesome, Michael. Jeez,
All right,
genius.
So here we've got a beautiful organic looking structure.
Why do you never show me this stuff?
Because I just play around. All right, okay. So yeah, I think we've covered most of it now.
Yeah.
Are there any questions or anything so far? Or?
Yeah, so Inkscape is capable of turning any JPEG or PNG into an SVG file. This is why we use it. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the organic one that I found earlier on the.
Yeah, Michael, can there's a question? Can you make self-portraits and hollow those out?
I don't know. What, of a patient or of the dentist? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it has a lot of potential.
That's yeah.
Excellent.
So we have to have a new button for the model designer, because we don't want to lose our Oni wanted and Oni and Jared. So you have to have a custom texturized base.
Yes, I'm thinking that in the future we'll have a customized one, but again, we don't want to be helping people, and you know the organic structures are too thin or something. You know, this could be problematic for us, you know, to you know, for an individual one-on-one trying to fix things. So I think the user needs to know that, you know, that's a button, they can do it, but it's like on your own, you know, your own thing.
Well, I do have it on video. I do have it on video, but yeah, be careful you don't mess with a model designer, and whatever changes you make there, you know, could actually potentially be irreversible. Well, you just, yeah.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what I
you
mean.
could always click update module, and then, you know, that should fix anything
Oh,
else.
absolutely, because it brings in a whole new file. So it would fix it immediately. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah. But your good work will be then deleted.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm very happy because I was struggling to understand how Ivan Rudek make his very nice model. But now he's gone. But I understand now how he make his own custom texture.
Yeah. So what he would do is he'd take the study model base without the actual dental model in it. You can just create a base without actually any model, and then you end up with the ABO dimensions of, you know, that structure of the base, and then he would perforate that with a picture similar to what Michael made just now, that big block, and he'd then shrink it into the model, and then he'd cut it out like Michael did with the puzzle pieces.
Okay,
and then
it was a punch out.
And then he would sync a full model onto the base as such. So yeah, he's done some amazing work with these model bases, and yeah, I think we've got a lot to learn. Perhaps he can make a video so we can follow those designs, which would come in quite handy.
Yeah, so there's a lot possible with this, and I see the possibility in using this for chrome cobalt, you know, all these wax patterns, and also potentially for implants, you know, subperiosteal implants or whatever. You could have all these organic structures, you know, so there's a lot of possibility.
And for the denture module, we can have the palatal bumps, you know, all the stuff we have on the palate, and we can.
Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't think about that. Yeah, you could do that. Yeah. So yeah.
Excellent. Look, I'm going to open up the microphone. So if you guys got questions, you know, feel free to ask.
Little things can become your big moment.
Yeah.
That's why there's Otezla. Otezla is not a cream. It's a pill that treats.
All right. Excellent. All right. I think, Michael, you've done an amazing job.
Yeah, thank you.
Once again. Next week, you know, if you guys got any ideas, we can put those forward so we can do another Zoom. I know people are quite interested in looking at the guide design again. This time we've got the Medentica, actually the implants, which is just amazing. So Michael can demonstrate how to swap one implant with another. I think that would be quite interesting. And also we've got the abutment. Well, we've got we've got the abutments, but we're going to put a hold on that until we have the crown and breechwork module out. So we've got everything flowing nicely without any problems. So the abutments are coming as well. Excellent. Super. Well, thank you for joining. And it was nice seeing you all.
Thank you.
And we
Yeah,
will.
thank you. I hope it was informative, and you know,
And
that's good.
if you guys got some really awesome logos, flick it our way. Always interested to see. The creativity is just amazing. Yeah. All right, so we'll sign off, and once again, thanks for joining. Okay, bye guys. Bye.
Cheers. Okay, bye.
Thank you, Michael.
Bye.
Cheers.